Sports, a place where many athletes find success.
This is likely the final play that matters. End zone wide open. What a night for Mike Williams.
But where there's a winner, there has to be a loser.
He came a long way. You hear me? Come here, I love you, bro. Real.
It's one thing to watch the game, but another to analyze it. Let's talk about the numbers. You ready? YouTube. What's going on, man? Back at it again with another video. It's your boy, Numbers Fan Jay. And of course, today we have the NFC East Predictions video for you. If you haven't seen it already, the NFC South Division's predictions were done last week. I'm going to go ahead and drop that link up here, so you can go ahead and check that out. If you haven't subscribed already, if you haven't hit that notifications bell, please do, so I can have these conversations with you guys so we can talk about the NFL teams. Let's get into it, man. Let's get into it. So, last year I predicted that the Cowboys finished first, the Eagles finished second, Redskins at 3, Giants at 4. What ended up happening, the final standings for this division was Eagles at 1, Cowboys at 2, Giants at 3, Redskins at 4. Now, we're hoping that we can be a little more precise for you this year. We were accurate, but we weren't precise. We got to be precise. It wasn't like the Giants finished first. It wasn't that bad. But, it was a couple little shifts here and there. But it's a whole new year, new beginning. Y'all know how that goes, man. Let's go ahead and get into it, starting with the cellar dwellers of this division. For me, it's going to have to be the Washington Redskins. 2019, they went 3-13, finished last in the division, like I said. They were the worst home team in the NFL. They were 1-7, only won one home game. The only team in the NFL that only won one home game. They were 0-6 in the division. They did not win a single division game, and they were the second worst team overall in the NFL, behind only the Bengals, of course, who drafted Joe Burrow. So, that being said, let's get into the stats. 2019 offensively, the Redskins were not entertaining, to say the least. 31st in total offense, last in passing, last in points per game, the 5th most sacked team in the league offensively, and they were right in the middle in giveaways. So that's kind of something to hang your hat on. You weren't giving it away more than everybody else. You were kind of right in the middle of the pack. 2019 defensively, they were 27th in total defense, 31st versus the run, 10th in sacks, which is a great thing, 27th in points allowed. They were in middle in takeaways as well. But the +1 turnover differential tied them for 13th in the NFL, which is another good thing you can hang your hat on. So you're finding the little bitty things. You're going, all right, what are the good points of this season? Because clearly the record shows that this was a horrible season for this football team. The losses, personnel-wise, Vernon Davis, the tight end, has retired. Jordan Reed was also lost in free agency. Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie was another loss. Eric Flowers, the tackle. We know he was kind of up and down, but Eric Flowers, starting tackle, that's always a big thing. Case Keenum, of course, being a starting quarterback for the Redskins coming into the season, is another big loss for them. Donald Penn, another tackle for them. And, of course, Josh Norman, the cornerback who they signed a few years ago. Big deal. They were expecting him to come in and change the culture, but couldn't really do that. So, additions. Kyle Allen, the quarterback from Carolina, didn't really have that great of a year. Don't really understand that signing there. But he adds depth, I guess. Ronald Darby is a great signing at cornerback. He's solid. Richard Rodgers at tight end. And coming off of IR, Darius Geis looked great. He looked great in his rookie season, but he's coming off of IR. Hopefully he can bounce back and have his good year that looked like he was going to have this year. Ryan Kerrigan, the unquestioned leader for the Redskins on defense. Excuse me. The Redskins drafted Chase Young, defensive end out of Ohio State, knowing how great he is. The Predator, they called him in college. Awesome defensive player. Antonio Gibson, the running back out of Memphis. Shout out to Memphis. Y'all know, represent, I already know. And the fourth round, they waited till the fourth round to draft a tackle. Sadiq Charles. Hopefully I'm saying his name correctly, out of LSU. That was baffling to me. They waited a really long time to draft a tackle, knowing they need one. Bottom line for this team, still an underwhelming roster. They lack receivers. They have questions at quarterback. You know, Alex Smith is coming off of IR as well. We know how good he can be. Will they roll with Alex Smith? Will they go with Dwayne Haskins? Will they allow Kyle Allen to compete for a starting role? We don't know what we're going to get out of this quarterback room. The secondary also still has questions. You know, no more Josh Norman back there. Who's going to be the guy to step up at corner, step up at safety? Ron Rivera is their new head coach, but he needs more to work with, guys. He doesn't have a whole lot to work with this year. Don't expect anything from the Redskins this year. This roster is at least 3 years away from competing. They have a new defensive coordinator in Jack Del Rio and a new offensive coordinator in Scott Turner. So a lot of turnover in the front office. Just don't see them doing much this year. Moving on to the number 3 team in the division, which of course is going to have to be the New York Giants. The New York Giants went 4-12 in 2019, finished third in the division. 2019 offensively, they were 23rd in total offense. Despite having Saquon Barkley, he did get hurt at a point in the season. They were struggling. They're 30th in giveaways. This team had 16 fumbles. They could not hold the ball. If it was glued to them. 16 fumbles for this team offensively. Defensively, they were 25th in total defense, 28th versus the pass, and 25th, tie for 28th in takeaways. This team is last in turnover differential. So it seemed like every game they were turning over more than the other team was. And that led to their record of 4-12. You got to take care of the football in the NFL. You cannot turn it over like they did. The losses personnel-wise for the Giants, Eli Manning, of course, retired. Antoine Bethea was a loss at safety. He was getting kind of older, though. So Aldrick Rosas, the kicker, may be a loss because he was arrested for a hit and run. They did say they are speaking with him about that currently. I don't know what that situation holds, but we all know signing a new kicker is not as easy as you may think it sounds. Kicking is not an easy job. They also lost Deion Buchanan, the hybrid safety linebacker. We know he had great years in Arizona. Yet to see what he's going to do on another team. But anyway, additions. Didn't find many notable additions personnel-wise on the field as far as players. But the head coach, new head coach, Joe Judge, brand new head coach. Going to see what he can do. Offensive coordinator Jason Garrett from the Cowboys. That's a nice signing. I think that's a good signing for whoever plays quarterback for this team. Whether it be, of course, new guy Daniel Jones, or if they find somebody else to play quarterback for them. Defensive coordinator Patrick Graham, also another addition. Draft-wise for the Giants, they did go out and get Andrew Thomas, offensive tackle from Georgia. They went and got Xavier McKinney, the safety from Alabama, and Matt Pert, the offensive tackle for UConn. I think they had a solid draft, but the bottom line for this team is the coaching turnover. Will the coaching turnover help this team with their on-the-field turnover problems? Can they coach this team out of fumbling 16 times for another year? Can we get a full season of Saquon Barkley? How is Daniel Jones going to look in his next year now that he doesn't have Eli Manning kind of over his shoulder? People asking for Eli to get back in. Do they have enough help defensively? There are a lot of questions for this Giants team, and I just don't think that this team is going to be able to compete this year either, along with the Redskins. Looks like the Giants are going to be having another down year. But hey, we'll see. We'll see. Second team in this division, and this is going to surprise some people, the Cowboys. Cowboys went 8-8 in 2019. They finished second last year in the division, but don't worry. Y'all can sneak into the playoffs this year with the 7th seed. So don't worry. Anything can happen in playoffs. We all know that. So, going into the stats, this offense was nothing short of spectacular. They moved the ball up and down the field pretty easily. First in total offense, second in passing, fifth in rushing, sixth in points per game, scoring 26 points per game. The second least sacked team in the league, the ninth fewest giveaways. This offense produced game in and game out. They came out and produced. Dak worked for a contract that he's still yet to agree on, yet to find that sweet spot between him and the front office. But we'll see how that turns out. 2019 defensively, this team was top 10. They were 9th in total defense, 10th versus the pass, 11th versus the run, 11th in points allowed. But the big thing about this defense, they were tied for 25th in takeaways. They did not take away the ball very well. And that's the thing they're going to have to try to do better next year. They were 18th in turnover differential at -1, which -1 isn't horrible because you're not really turning it over either. They were 9th fewest teams. They were among the 9th. They were the 9th in fewest giveaways. Goodness, I had to get that out. But losses personnel-wise for the Cowboys, Jason Witten is still playing football inexplicably. They lost him in free agency. Randall Cobb, of course, Robert Quinn, Tavon Austin, Michael Bennett, and Travis Frederick retired their center. He was a pretty good center. So that is a big loss for them. Additions, Gerald McCoy, they boosted that defensive line. Gerald McCoy, Dontari Poe, and Clinton Dix is a pretty good, strong safety. They went out and signed him. Coming off IR, I think, is the most important thing for them. Leighton Vander Esch, one of the best linebackers in the league when he's healthy. He's coming back to this defense. Hopefully, he can help them generate some takeaways. They have a brand new head coach in Mike McCarthy. I think that was a great signing. They have a new defensive coordinator in Mike Nolan, which can also be viewed as another good signing, and a special teams coach in John Fasell. Hopefully I said his name right. Draft-wise for the Cowboys, they drafted CeeDee Lamb, the wide receiver out of Oklahoma. I think that was a great pickup, contrary to many beliefs. He adds depth to this receiving chart. Amari Cooper can't be relied on every single game like he was much of last year. So CeeDee Lamb being that guy, being there just in case Cooper gets hurt, just in case something happens to where Cooper can't play. No, you have Michael Gallup, but I don't think he's the #1 receiver in my opinion. So they also went out and drafted Trayvon Diggs, the cornerback out of Alabama, and Neville Gallimore, the defensive tackle out of Oklahoma. Bottom line for the Dallas Cowboys, they're good on coaching. They're good. This roster is still great. They had a good draft. Jerry Jones is still the problem. He's just doing too much. And I'm just going to continue to stick with that. I think Jerry Jones just has his hands in too many different things. He's the GM as well as the owner. So he already has his hands full there. But on top of that, he comes down and does post-game interviews. And he comes down in the middle of games to give his opinion on what he thinks the coaching staff should do. If he just stays back, I don't know if he needs to get somebody else to be a GM or I don't know. If he just wants to be the coach, I think he should just go be the coach. I don't understand what he's doing. I think he's really holding his team back. But hopefully Mike McCarthy can get in here and show him that he doesn't need Jerry Jones' help to coach the team. Hopefully. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes, guys. I just don't think the Cowboys can win the division with Jerry Jones doing what he does, being Jerry Jones. With that being said, that only leaves one team, the Philadelphia Eagles. They finished 9-7 last year. They won the NFC East last year. They won their final 4 games and then went one and done in the playoffs. This Eagles team continues to prove doubters wrong, including myself. I never thought that the Eagles were just some great team, even when they won the Super Bowl. I've never been impressed by the Eagles. They're just one of those teams. I don't know why. But 2019 offensively for the Eagles, they were 14th in total offense. They had a bunch of mid numbers. They were not top 10 in any category offensively. They were also not at the bottom. They weren't in the bottom of the bottom 10 in any category. 2019 defensively, his team was 10th in total defense, 19th versus the pass, 3rd versus the run. So that is something that they pride themselves on, the run defense. This team was tied for 21st in takeaways as well as giveaways, which makes their turnover differential 22nd in the league at -3. So this team, it was just one of those teams that were just too hard to watch for me. Like, I watched a few games because it's football and I love football, but the Eagles are not my first choice ever. They're never my first choice to watch. But as far as personnel, they lost Jordan Howard, the running back. They also lost Nelson Aguilar, which I know many Eagles fans were rejoicing at the fact that they didn't have to see Nelson Aguilar drop another football because he was atrocious at times, dropping touchdowns, dropping wide open first downs. Just absolutely ridiculous. They lost Malcolm Jenkins as well. Jason Peters, the tackle. A lot of teams are losing tackles this offseason. Jason Peters, one of the best tackles in the league for the majority of his career. He is nearing the age of 40, though. So how much longer can he go? Vinny Curry, defensive tackle, was also lost, or defensive end, was also lost. Additions for this Philadelphia Eagles team: Darius Slay. What a huge pickup. Lockdown corner from the Lions. Proven time and time again that he can hang with the top receivers in the game for a full game. He can follow those guys in their hip pocket for a full game. Marquise Goodwin, the speedster from San Francisco. Good addition there. Coming off of IR, they get Malik Jackson back, the defensive tackle, great run stopper. Alshon Jeffrey, the receiver. Of course, we know about his plays he made in the Super Bowl when they won that Super Bowl, and that year had a great year that year. Deshaun Jackson, also coming off of IR. Just want to go ahead and make a side note. Deshaun Jackson's comments were inappropriate. Can't look over that. Can't just gloss over his name and not bring that up right now. Very inappropriate comments. Just a bad overall thing to say. Quoting Hitler. He said he didn't really know what he was quoting right there, but that is what it is. It's not my word, so I don't have to defend it. I'm not going to try to defend it. They were just the wrong things to say. He's apologized for it, but that community, knowing the things that they've been through, just tough for them to hear something like that from a receiver that's made plays, a receiver that's given a lot to many different communities. But we're not going to go here and justify Deshaun Jackson. He's wrong. He's definitely wrong. Moving on, drafting. Philadelphia Eagles draft-wise, they drafted Jalen Reagor, so they added more speed. So they don't need Deshaun Jackson. Just saying. They have Marquise Goodwin now. They drafted Jalen Reagor, who's been seen on video running a 4.22. Wide receiver out of TCU. They also drafted Jalen Hurts, the quarterback out of Oklahoma. So, Mr. Carson Wentz, if you're not going to play 16 games, be prepared to lose your job because Jalen Hurts is a workhorse. All he does is work on the game of football. But they also drafted Davion Taylor, the outside linebacker from Colorado. The bottom line for the Philadelphia Eagles, who I think will win this division, they added speed, of course, as I said. They added the lockdown defender in Darius Slay. They don't have any huge losses personnel-wise. the the fact that Nelson Aguilar is gone is huge. There are no more dropsies. They don't have to watch him drop the ball for games upon games in a season. And I think that's one of the biggest things that they could have happen in this offseason is to get rid of somebody that they think was holding them back. So those are my division predictions for the NFC East. Thank y'all for watching, man. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you're new. Thank you for your view. I appreciate you. Hit that notification bell. Let me know down below what you think about Deshaun Jackson's comments. What do you think the Eagles should do? What do you think my next division predictions should be? We're sticking with the NFC, so we only got 2 divisions left. We got the NFC West and the NFC North. Which division do you guys want to see next? Let me know in the comments, please. Don't forget, it's your boy Jay. We out of here.